Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX Influencer A-List. I'm Megha Sharma, and in our endeavor to bring to you digital stories of success, we have lined up yet another unmissable episode today. A weekend driven by art influencers. We have on our show today Rob, who has and continues to inspire millions to follow his dreams, and Vartika Mishra, who is serving us the most adorable mannequin on the internet called Biku, and there is Samar Khan, who is doodling out-of-the-world creatures while being stuck in long metro journeys. Listen in to their stories.
Inspiring millions to follow their dreams.
I wanted to create a property which revolves around art and travel because nobody was exploring that.
He's a youth icon for all artists.
This is also new and very exciting, and I should explore this.
NewsX Influencer A-List proudly recognizes Rob for influence in fine arts.
Hello and welcome. You're joining us on NewsX Influencer A-List. I'm Paradeep Bhanot, and with us today is indeed a very, very special guest. Now, a lot of us know him as somebody who we saw on television growing up. He has taught us a lot of what we know when it comes to art, when it comes to crafts. We have Rob with us on the show today. And firstly, Rob, thank you so much for being with us on NewsX Influencer A-List. And we're so glad that you could be here.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here. And how have you been? How are you doing?
Good, great. We want to know from you where you have been, Rob. So we saw Rob for years doing Mad. And then, like I was just telling you, there was a vacuum that has been very hard to fill for any other creator, at least for my generation. Tell us, Rob, what has your journey been like? You did Mad, we all know that. What was it like after that? Where have you been in the past couple of years?
I've been here. I've been around. I've been doing a lot of art, a lot of creative stuff. Yes, after Mad ended, I actually wanted to explore something new because I did Mad for almost a decade. So as an artist, I think it's very important to explore new things. That's how you grow and improve. And I wanted to use everything that I had sort of learned over the years creating content for television and apply it elsewhere. I also wanted to get into like travel space. I wanted to create a property which revolves around art and travel because nobody was exploring that. So almost after I left Pogo, almost for a year or so, I was exploring that space. And around that time only, I chanced upon YouTube and how the whole YouTube platform works, how digital platform works. So I was like, okay, this is also new and very exciting, and I should explore this. And I started a YouTube channel. I started making content for YouTube. So now I have 2 YouTube channels. I have a great art community. We have a nice big following, a nice big family. I was also doing a lot of installation work because I was known for my big pictures that I used to make on the show. Where I used to take
towards the end. Yeah,
and that was everyone's favorite segment, including mine, because rest of the show I was teaching stuff, but in this segment I could show off a little bit what all I could create and make. So a lot of people wanted to have that in a live setting. So I started doing that. I started making these big art installations for music festivals, for events, for brands. And I realized that was only for like a limited audience. Like anyone who is attending a festival or is part of an event could come and witness that because these were just massive art installations. And it's a very different experience when you look at art, which is larger than life.
Yeah.
So I thought, why not create a show around it? And I created India's first live art show, live travel art show, because we moved from cities. It's almost like how you have Broadway musicals. So we had like a stage show, but it was a visual spectacle. So I would make all these big art and installations and things like that on stage. It also had like a little bit of a social message, a story. It also had like a workshop model during the show. I would encourage people. Everyone got kits to be more creative and make stuff with me. It was just a fun show. I wanted to move people away from the screens and experience this live. So we did that within a couple of shows in Bangalore, Chennai. I did another show called Imagine That on Disney, which was very recent. So I went back to TV. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of stuff. I've been around. It's just that a lot of people moved away from Pogo and got busy with their lives and didn't check on me. That's what I'm up to.
Now we have to ask you, Rob. You've been in the television space, right? You know how that operates fully. But now you're also in the digital space, right? Because you make a lot of content from where we see it for Instagram also. So help us understand, what are the two mediums like, and from where you see it, is it more advantageous to be on, let's say, the digital medium today?
Well, I mean, they're completely different, like how film and TV is different, same way TV and digital is different. I mean, the way you design content for both is different. The way people consume content on both these platforms is very different. Like TV was appointment sort of viewing, a 7 o'clock film or a 9 o'clock show. But digital is not like that. It's at your own convenience. Like whenever people have time, they sit and watch. And with TV, it was because there's so much content on a particular channel and everything is scheduled. But in a digital sort of space, on each channel or platform, people can decide what they want to watch at what time they want to watch. And because it's available at their sort of, at their own convenience, there is a lot more content. So as a creator, you also have to make a lot more content. It can't be like in TV, it used to be like a 13 episode season. And then we were done, we would give it to the marketing team and they would launch the show. But in the digital space, you have to create the content, you have to market it, you have to schedule it, you have to put it out.
It's a lot more hands-on. It's like running your own startup, doing everything.
Absolutely. But also you have to keep in mind, the trends going on. You have to be spontaneous and you have to create content in bulk. Because it's not like someone will come to your channel and be like, okay, I saw one video and now next video will come next Sunday. It's not like that. Yeah. If someone has time, they'll be like, okay, let me see what else is there. And they will want to watch. So you have to make like 2 videos or 3 videos a week. Yeah. So it's different. But digital definitely has its own advantages because you can really connect with your audience. There's a lot of flexibility. You can change. You'll have a lot of creative freedom. You can change your format. With TV, when I was working, we couldn't tweak the format at all. So if we wanted to change something and we thought this isn't working, we would had to give, send an email or whatever, or a notice to the broadcaster or the channel and tell them that this is what we want to do and we get permission. But, your channel, you control yourself. So you can change things, try out new things, explore new stuff. So it has a lot of advantages also.
Okay, so Rob, now this might be a little sensitive, but I have to ask you this because a lot of us out there want to know, and we're just curious to know why did Mad, kind of stop? Because it was so brilliant. We were enjoying it so much. At least my generation, I personally loved the show. We want to know why it ended. We want to know why Mad with Rob ended.
Yeah, it was an amazing show and I was also having a lot of fun. But like I said, I worked with them for over a decade. And like I just mentioned that, television works very differently. You shoot seasons. So a Mad season used to be about 13 episodes. Then we used to shoot specials, which were about 6 to 8 episodes. So every few months we would shoot like a whole bunch of episodes. And over time, seasons after season, they had like a big bank of these episodes, like a library. And how channels work is they also repeat a lot of content, so there are a lot of reruns. And that was happening over time. And, in kids space, the best thing is that every year they get a new set of audience, the kids grow and they move to other channels and the younger ones then shift to this. So if you're putting out the same content also for them, they won't even realize that it's old content. And the way I used to design my content, even if you look at Mad right now, it doesn't seem dated. So that was a big sort of advantage, the channel had with the show. So we used to do a lot of recycling. And over time, we were also doing things like shoot like 50% of new content and then 50% of the old content and mix match and put it out there. And that model was working for them, but not so much for me, because as an artist, I wanted to create more.
You
But
are a
I
creative.
also understand how television channels work. So over time, we realized, like mutually agreed, that I guess it's time to move on and part ways. Yeah, and I left the channel, and they continued. Even now, Mad is still running, but all the old content.
Content creators such as yourself are concerned, you're one of the front runners, right? You've kind of set the ball rolling for a lot of other content creators. What do you think artists such as yourself require? You know, what kind of an ally, let's say, are you looking for? Not just in the digital space, but also in the let's say television space or in the newspaper space. What do you think content creators today need?
Both for television and digital.
Yeah, yeah.
I think, first of all, I'll say, like, even earlier when you asked, I think what has happened is over the years, because of all these platforms that are out there, creating content has become very easy. All these platforms, they have a very simple interface. They provide very basic but good tools that anyone can use and create content. So it's like become very easy for creators to create content. But what happens over time is, because it's so easy, people get used to, or at least think that it will be the same throughout. Like, they also imitate other people and somewhat become successful. But they should understand that this success is not going to last unless you work on your skill sets. So
Yeah.
I feel that more than what is available, I think every creator and artist should work on themselves, whether it's writing their own scripts or developing their own content to, their art and things like that. Because otherwise it's become easy. You can shoot on your phone, basic lights. You don't need a studio setup or broadcaster. You can start your own page or channel. All that is easy. I think people need to work on the skill sets, which is more important. So because even if there is no platform, at least you can go anywhere else, survive, and keep following your passion or creating content.
All
I
right.
don't know if that I answered your question correctly.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Absolutely. I get what you're saying. All right. So then before we let you go, Rob, I have one last question for you. And this is more of a tip that we want from you. For somebody that, wants to pursue art. And, like we were talking earlier, you said that a lot of us at a younger age love doing art and love playing with colors, but we don't necessarily follow our passion, right? We don't follow that creativity, that creative drive. For somebody who's watching this right now, and wants to do what you did, wants to be Rob, what do you suggest they should do?
If you want to be more creative, just follow me everywhere. Follow me on Instagram, YouTube. No, but I often say this, and I say this a lot, that it's important to be creative, because being creative doesn't hurt anyone. I mean, creative people are better at problem solving. So it's important, and creativity helps. What you can do is, people ask me, how can I become a better artist? How can I be more creative? It's just like any other thing. Spend a little more time understanding art. Invest time in learning. For me, even today, I try and understand and learn new mediums. Like now, I'm investing so much time in understanding how Instagram Reels work. And I'm making like these, because for me, if you try and see, I studied film. So we wanted to make 1 hour films, to making half an hour content on a TV, to moving to YouTube where the content is like 10 minutes, to Instagram, which is 1 minute, and now Reels is like 15 seconds. So your whole format of storytelling changes, but you have to adapt to the times. So you have to constantly keep learning. So invest your time, whatever you like. If you like certain creators, watch their contents, watch good content, whether it's films, read books. If you watch or read quality content, automatically it starts showing or reflecting in your work. It's like, to appreciate good food, you need to have good food, or to make good food, you need to enjoy good food.
Yeah.
Or same for music. And for artists who want to draw and do creative stuff, just try and do something small every day. Even if it's, I say this, even if it's painting a sunset, when you click a picture, it doesn't do justice, because it's just capturing a moment, but you're not observing it. My mantra is observe and absorb. So the more you see art is around you, creativity is around you, inspiration is around you, just open your eyes and observe and keep absorbing it. This is your library. And whenever you need ideas, you can just walk into any aisle and pick up the book you like, the idea you like, and you can apply it. So invest your time in observing and absorbing.
All right, that is great advice. Thank you so much, Rob, for being with us on NewsX Influencer A-List. It has been an absolute pleasure having you.
Doodling his way to success.
It was a fun project which turned to what it is right now. I never really thought that I would have a massive audience, that my work would be appreciated by so many people.
He's making heads turn with exemplary art.
I mean, this was not existing back in time. People used to struggle a lot just to have like a handful of people look at their work and see what they were doing.
NewsX Influencer A-List proudly recognizes Samar Khan for influence in doodle art.
Hello and welcome. You're joining us on NewsX Influencer A-List. With us today is yet another art influencer. Now, on Instagram, he is known as Metro Doodle, but he is Samar Khan, and Samar is a software engineer by profession, but he does doodles on the internet. Firstly, thank you so much, Samar, for being with us on NewsX Influencer A-List, and we're so glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here.
All right, Samar, you're a software engineer by profession, right? You've studied to be one, and you were just telling us about your journey. What is it like, to be a software engineer by profession, but take up a completely whole new different, passion as your profession? What is that like?
I mean, it's a little unusual, but it's great. I'll tell you why. Because when I was a kid, I was like, I've been always into creating stuff and experimenting with different types of medias, coming up with different things that I love creating. But I never really took it seriously. I never really thought that I want to become a creator, because artists back in time wasn't that, I won't say respected, but there were not a lot of opportunity for artists as such. And since I was also good at studies, I was I used to top in science and stuff. So I knew that I want to become an engineer or a scientist or something, in a science profession. So, but eventually things, took a turn on me, and so this was a fun project which turned to what it is right now. I never really thought that I would have a massive audience, that my work would be appreciated by so many people. So seeing that happen with time really had me take this seriously and, just use this opportunity that I got to do something that I really enjoy. So yeah, that's been the journey so far.
So Samar, tell me something, very interesting that you said that earlier on, when we were children, artists did not have as much of a voice or as much of a space, right? Do you think that digital media has kind of changed that? Because for you also, you were just telling us that you drew a doodle, put it out there, and there was instant reactions that were coming in, people it was reaching. Do you think our generation, has a certain advantage?
We definitely do. This was not existing back in time. People used to struggle a lot just to have like a handful of people look at their work and see what they were doing. Right now, it is so easy. You just have to use the social media to reach to as many people as you can. If you're good, you're definitely gonna get the audience. You're definitely gonna get the eyeballs, and you're just it's so much easier now. So basically, there are so many opportunities right now for anyone who wants to become an artist or who's just passionate about it to just show what they're doing to the world.
So what was your journey like? You started with putting out a doodle and it gained instant traction. And then where did you take it from there?
So honestly, since I never saw it happening, I did not have any plans for it. So it was a surprise for me when this was happening. I remember when I got my first 100 followers, I was so excited. I was telling all my friends that, look, this is happening and everything. But eventually that record broke, and very soon I hit the 1,000 mark. And then within a couple of months, I had like 10,000 followers on my Instagram accounts. So I was like totally, I wasn't sure what was happening, and I never really because I also had another account of me, which I was using for, posting a lot of different sorts of artworks and photography that I used to do. So I never really saw that kind of traction happen, come to that particular account. But this was like booming crazily. So, yeah, it was totally amazing. And I really thought that I should use this opportunity and,
You got the traction and then you instantly started. So what was your first reaction? That I should put out more content, or was it that I need to improve on my existing content, or, was it that I need to somehow get more followers? What was the instant first reaction that you had?
So honestly, if I have to tell you, the first few artworks was not posted on Metro Doodle. It was on my personal account. And it got featured by some like massive following, pages with massive following. And I just went through the comments and saw people really appreciating what I was doing. So that's what made me make more of such artworks, because I knew that people are really enjoying what they're seeing over there. So I was like, maybe I should make more. And that's how Metro Doodle came into existence, because I did not want to post, because, my main Instagram account had random stuff. So I was not really comfortable doing the same thing again and again. So I was like, maybe I should have a separate space for it, and I should I should make a separate handle and post everything over there and see where it goes. And it just did amazing.
So what was it like to become a media personality in a certain sense overnight? Because, it was one post which took you to, which spread the word around that there's Samar Khan who's a great artist. What was it like to, get that sort of traction overnight?
It was great, but the thing was that I was also an engineer, and that was a serious job. And this side, like, I was creating monsters and aliens for social media, which was a little different than the person I was during the day. So when I saw the traction coming, I never really revealed my identity on social media, because I never really wanted my colleagues and my boss and people in my workspace to find out that I was making all these crazy creatures and these weird aliens around people. So for like a few months, I just ran it anonymously. I never really revealed my identity, and it also brought a surprising, a curiosity among the people that who is this person who is traveling the metro creating monsters around random people. And so that also really worked. I think it worked in my favor, because that also brought in a little bit of hype to it.
Okay, and before we let you go, because we've run out of time, I want to ask you one last question, Samar. How important is it to build your niche? Because you said that before you started doing Metro Doodles, you were also putting out photography and artwork that you were doing. So how important do you think has creating a niche been important for you? How has that worked out for you?
I think it is extremely important, because unless and until people will stumble upon your page and discover you on social media, but unless they know that what the piece of content that they really like from you, if they're going to see more of it, then obviously they're going to follow and they're going to stick around to your page. Like if you're putting out random stuff, no one can really know that what is the next thing that's going to come from you. So that's a really, really important thing. And having a niche is like the first step that every creator who wants to take it seriously has to do and find for him or herself, and then take it forward from there.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Samar, for being with us, and more power to you. Keep doodling and keep bringing smiles to our faces.
Thank you so much.
Creating the most adorable mannequin called Piku.
And I went with my family's opinion and I just went for it.
She's introducing comics to Reels.
Nowadays, I am trying to create Reels using the same concept. It's just that I'm making it into videos.
NewsX influencer A-list proudly recognizes Vartika Mishra for influence in comic art.
Hello and welcome. You're joining us on NewsX Influencer A-List. I'm Parati Panot, and with us today is somebody who makes comics on the internet. Namrata Mishra is joining us on the broadcast, and she is giving us the cutest character to ever exist on Instagram, which is Biku. She is, of course, the founder of Beak Tales. Firstly, a very warm welcome. Thank you so much for being with us, Vartika.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So tell us a little about the content that you create. Tell us a little about the comics that you're, putting out.
Okay, so I started putting out comics about how to solve problems in your basic problems in your life. So, for example, I had a comic called "How to Stop Hair Fall," and for that, I usually try to give some different kind of answers, which will actually not help you in solving anything, but it's a funny take on how to solve some real issues in life. So, for example, in How to Stop Your Hair Fall, my character Biku went to a school, and Biku was spending some time with the kids, and he tried to get lice while sitting with them, and came back home, and he what he's doing is he's giving the responsibility to all those insects to take care of his hair, because now it's their home and they have to take care of it. So this is how you can maybe stop your hair fall. So this is something which I use in most of my comics. And nowadays I am trying to create reels using the same concept. It's just that I'm making it into videos.
So what is it like, Vartika, to create comics for the internet? Because a lot of the times when we think comics, we think we're going to get, a hard copy of a small book and with that we're going to be able to flip through. How is it different, to be sketching, or let's say to be doing it for print versus doing it for the internet?
So I have never explored print comics. I have started digitally, making digitally. So I'm not really sure how different it is. I mean, it's just printing something, and the way I make comics, at least, they can be easily printed, and instead of those 10 slides, so I usually make a 10 slide comic. You can have a 10-page book.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand if there is any difference in while creating.
How was the reaction? Okay, so let me put it in a different way. When you started doing digital content creation, and we were just talking, right? You were telling me that you come from Jamshedpur. What was the reaction of your family and friends like when you told them that you were, going to be monetizing your content now just off of posting on Instagram?
So my family was very supportive. Like, they really enjoy my comics, but most of my friends, they didn't understand what this is about, what am I doing.
Yeah.
So, but I knew that it had some potential. So, and I went with my family's opinion, and I just went for it.
All right. And so then tell us, in, let's say, towns, smaller towns, I'm not talking about metropolitan cities, but in smaller towns, is the idea still somewhere that digital content creation cannot be a profession? And if yes, then do you think that you have experienced people around you come to you and, give you advice on whether or not to do this as a profession?
People usually tell me that don't leave your job and don't do this full time, because it's a very difficult life if you choose that life.
Yeah.
And somehow even I feel that's true, but I am trying to make it simpler for me. So I will gradually move out from my job to making this a full-time thing. But
So
yeah,
what
people
do you
are
do
still.
now? What do you do right now? What is your full-time profession like?
So I'm a UX designer currently.
And how much time do you give to your full-time job versus Biku or Beaktails?
So I have my office from 9 to 7. And after that I make Beaktails. So sometimes I have evening meetings, so I make Beaktails in the morning. So that's how I manage, but it becomes really hectic and I don't really get time to.
And how are you constantly thinking of stories? Because from what we understand, it's not just about the sketching bit of it, right? It's also a lot about storytelling, and it's also about a lot of different unique ideas for people to relate to. What is that process like?
So I keep doing that the whole day. I discuss it with my families. I have got a lot of ideas. I mean, I get so many ideas every day. I don't have time to implement them. So I keep discussing with my family and friends, and I keep asking them, is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea? And I note it down. And yeah, so I have a list of ideas and I just make it every day.
All right, awesome. And before we let you go, Vartika, I want to know from you, now that you're doing content creation, you want to eventually do this full time. What is the one thing that you think that, art content creators on the internet require? Is it the fact that you require more recognition? Is it the fact that you require people to respect digital art creation as much as they, let's say, do painting on a canvas? What is it that you think art influencers really require right now?
According to me, I think the most important thing is you should know how to multitask. You should know how to network with people. You should be really, you should understand your value and how much you should charge for things. I think these things are the most important things which I think is important for me before I start doing that. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Vartika, for being with us. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you, and more power to you and more power to Biku.
Thank you so much.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.